Tell us more about this, thinking yourself thin.
Thinking yourself thin. Okay, well, I think it's proven that all these issues start in our head, okay? So they begin upstairs in the head. And as human beings, we have two emotional drivers, okay? That's pleasure and pain. And we are naturally going to move towards pleasure at every opportunity. So when we're looking at, as we have been all afternoon, stress, people are stressed, they look for pleasure. And they'll find that pleasure in anything they can, and it's often alcohol, often food, carbs, chocolate, all the things that make them feel good.
Yeah.
And which is why obesity is growing in the UK. It's now 39% of people in this country are deemed obese. 58% of people are overweight. And that kind of mirrors the increasing stress trends as well. So, so in terms of thinking yourself thin, we do know that challenges with food start in the head. Diets address the output from the cause, which starts in the head.
So you've got to train your brain.
You've got to train your brain.
You even start the diet. The thing is, though, it does all link. And when you say it out loud, you can see, can't you? I am stressed, so therefore I go for make myself feel better by having a chocolate. I am then stressed because I feel guilty for going to have this massive binge on chocolate. My waistline then increases, which I'm then stressed about because I don't look like how I look in the mirror. So in order to make myself feel better, it doesn't matter, I'll eat something else. Oh, that's made me feel better. And the whole cycle just continues. It's a vicious circle.
It's a vicious circle, and one of the, I share with you a trade secret. Really, one of the issues hypnotists and NLPers have with weight loss is the fact that our bodies and minds naturally progress towards feeling good, but there has to be a certain amount of pain as well, because we have to do things differently. So often people, this is unconscious eating or emotional eating, so people will just open the cupboard, they'll eat a whole host of stuff, and when they're talking to me they'll say, do you know what, I don't even know what I ate, but I felt better. So I think it's important to recognise, and the easiest way to kind of categorise this is emotional eating and just normal hunger. And the one big way of doing that is emotional eating. You get rapid kind of purges of hunger and like cravings for. So it could be chocolate, it's often carbohydrates or anything sweet. And all we're doing is we're making ourselves feel better.
So we eat consciously because we're hungry. We're actually hungry, so that's why we eat. And we eat emotionally to make ourselves feel better. So putting them together, you can think yourself thin. You can, yeah. By doing there are a number of strategies that you can use to work the kind of vision that you have for yourself at your ideal weight, for example. What are the conscious tips to lose weight and to keep it off?
The conscious tips are to recognise your triggers for eating. Okay, so never eat when you're upset or stressed.
Well, that's really easy to say, isn't it?
It is, but all we're doing is recognising the triggers. So consciously, I'm feeling upset, I'm feeling stressed, I'll go and have a great big piece of chocolate cake. Well, if you are looking to lose weight, if you recognise the triggers and you're aware of that situation, then instead of having a nice big piece of chocolate, have something else that you enjoy.
What about how you eat, where you eat, when you eat?
All of those things are important. There's a model, again, it's a Paul McKenna model. I can't take anything away from him. His model is only eat when you're hungry. Okay, so allow your body to dictate when you eat. Okay, so and now I'm talking about generally. So listen to your body's needs, recognise the emotional eating signs, and avoid them. Okay?
We are programmed, aren't we, to eat breakfast, lunch and dinner and 2 snacks throughout the day. That's the way I read in the media tells me to do. That's the way the health experts tell me to do it. But there are times when I get to lunch and I think to myself, I'm really not hungry, but I'll eat because it's lunchtime.
Ideally, what you want is your blood sugar level stable, so you don't get those cravings and things like that, and you do things like drink lots of water, eat plenty of fruit, avoid caffeine, and you stabilise your appetite. and a good nutritionist would be able to give you proper advice on that. But that's very important. If you only eat, you just listen to your body's needs. Another one is don't eat when you're watching television, because you'll sit there and watch television and you'll pile away all the food, and then all of a sudden it's all gone, and you've been watching TV and it's gone. You've done it. Another rule, one of Paul's rules, is when you're full, when you feel full, stop. And a good exercise that some people do is portion control. They'll eat massive amounts of food because it's on the plate. Put a blindfold on and eat, and when you feel hungry, stop. Take the blindfold off, see what you've got left on the plate. Then you can start managing your portion control, because and then your stomach will shrink, you see, and then you will become accustomed to that amount of food. I
think it's definitely a generation, and I definitely came from a household where I was always told that it would be rude if you left anything on your plate. So
true.
Where the plate was always piled high, and then even when you were absolutely you still carried on because the plate was not empty.
You still carried on,
and it was wasteful.
But yes, it was, but we've got to get away from that, because if we think 59% of us are overweight, 40% of us are obese, it's putting a massive strain on the National Health Service. So something has to change. And this is an alternative way of basically listening to your body. Eat when you're hungry, when you're full, stop. Eat consciously. So recognise emotional eating and normal hunger. And eat slowly. There's a slight delay between putting the food in your mouth and your brain's ability to register it that you've had it, and subsequently tell your tummy that you're full. So eat slowly. And another really good tip I've found is work to speed up your metabolism. So if you get up a little bit earlier in the morning, do some exercise, speed up your metabolism, your body will burn fat far quicker, and you can eat little and often then.
How much success have you had with clients thinking themselves thin?
Right, I can tell you that we have had 75% success rate.
Wow.
The biggest challenge, if I'm absolutely honest, is some people don't see the program through. So they're in the clinic on the basis that they've tried every other diet they can. Diets put the food in control, which is we think that's wrong. Okay, so people become enslaved to food. Majority of people that come through our clinic we work successfully with, but you're looking at quite a combination of a nutritional consultation and a consultation with somebody like me.
Have you tried it for yourself?
Yeah, I've tried it for myself. I think probably in the past I've suffered with adrenal fatigue. I've done some big jobs, not in the last 5 years, and moved towards food to make me feel good, or haven't got the time to sit down and have the proper meal, so grab things on the run. Don't do any of that anymore, and avoid alcohol. Obviously not completely, because that would make me a very boring person.
Well, not necessarily, no. Each to their own.
Each to their own. But avoid alcohol, cut out a whole host of complete no-nos into processed foods. Eat plenty of fresh vegetables, fruit, and water's another big one. How many people drink 3 litres of water a day?
No, I'm nowhere near.
No, and people aren't. If you do that, you will stabilise your appetite as well.
You've got to include possibly the unconscious ones as well.
Absolutely right.
What do you mean by this?
Well, very quickly, our mind is divided into two. We have our conscious mind, where we consciously make decisions about what we want to do, and we have our computer store with all our life's memories, experiences, and so forth, which we call our unconscious mind. And when we are using unconscious techniques, we are drawing on things from the past and using the mind to think about the future. So, for example, if we take a typical person that falls into the category of what we've just discussed, they probably haven't always been overweight. They have learnt the habits to become overweight. So using techniques such as NLP, hypnosis, cognitive behavioural therapy and so forth, you can take those people back to a time unconsciously when they felt good, they were at the perfect weight, and actually reconnect them with those feelings and bring them forward to the now and reinstall them so they can kind of the same way they learn to become big, they can use the same processes and techniques to unlearn that process and almost install a new process in the unconscious part of their mind.
Yeah, because as you say, no one was born fat, were they?
No, they weren't.
So let's have a look at these tips, the unconscious magical tips of thinking yourself thing. Get into the zone.
Yeah, get into the zone. You've got to get into the zone of feeling what it would be like, seeing what it would be like to be your ideal weight, and what it would mean to you. You know, and bearing in mind we can do these things in quite a short space of time. So in most cases, unless somebody's hugely overweight, you know, we could make significant inroads into this within a matter of 6 to 12 weeks. So get people visualising how they're going to look. You know, that 2 stone lighter, how they're going to feel going into their favourite shop, picking up a size 12 or 14, and actually getting them into a nice, relaxed, light trance and visualising these things, using the power of the mind to actually see and bring those things alive, get them into the zone of being a size 12, and then starting to have that as their habitual thinking. They see it all the time, and then they you know, imagination is far, far more powerful than will, believe it or not. So if you can get them seeing it and get them in the zone, you've got a very good chance of losing the weight.
And also, you've put this afternoon, create a food anchor.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is an old NLP technique. If somebody has, let's call it chocolate. Lots of people have problems with chocolate or sweets. If a good anchoring, okay, is all about taking that food and in the mind mixing it in a certain way with a number of things that you really don't like very much. Okay, so liver. Let's take so imagine that you've got a bowl in front of you and you've got your favourite pudding of trifle in this bowl. Let's mix it with some cold liver and all the other things and really bring it alive. Using this NLP technique, this person is, whenever they associate themselves with the food they love, bolted on the side of the food they love, they're going to get the smell, taste and feel of liver. And the idea is it puts them off of the food they love.
Yeah, but also when you go to the fridge, this is the thing I don't understand about NLP, because when you go to the fridge and you open it up and there's that bowl of trifle in there's not a bit of liver in sight. So not a problem, I'll eat it.
You said that last time we spoke about this, funnily enough, that what you do with an anchor, okay, is you anchor the client mentally to the liver and all the things they hate, and then you have them associate that with something physical they do themselves. So, for example, when you get them in the peak state of visualising, tasting, sensing and smelling liver and chocolate, you get them to anchor themselves. So let's say they squeeze their thumb and forefinger together, okay? And you test that and you do it again and again and again till it's foolproof. So then tomorrow, when they go and open the door of the fridge, they see their trifle or chocolate in the fridge, they squeeze their thumb and forefinger together and it kicks the anchor back in, they associate it with liver and they close the fridge.
Does it really work?
Yes, it does.
Wow.
Short term, that'll work for anything between 3 and 9 months, and obviously by then other things will have taken over and they'll, once you make progress, Lorna, with weight loss, once you start to see it come off, you then make more progress, don't you? You believe you can do it, you gather momentum, and you're well on your way to achieving what you want to achieve.
What's another tip?
Change your unconscious view of yourself. There's an NLP technique called, I believe they call it the swish technique. So get out some photographs of yourself as exactly as you used to be, you know, in that little black dress or whatever, and go back to that particular time and get a photograph out of yourself now and have a good look at both of those photographs. Put them into your mind. In fact, it's probably best this is looked up online, swish technique, but basically you replace the large image of yourself with a much thinner desired image, which you actually have in front of you, and then you anchor yourself to that as well. So you've always got in your mind the vision of you as in a much smaller desired state.
Thank you so much for coming in, de-stressing us, sorting our sleep out, sorting our waistlines out as well. Well, showing us how we can sort them out. But yeah, that's the hard bit, isn't it? Actually doing it. But thank you so much for all your advice. Have a wonderful summer.
And you.
And it's lovely to see you.
Lovely
Mark
to see you.
Shields was our expert for today's summer special from the Life Practice in Hitchin.